Hello everybody, and welcome to the NetSuite Release 2019.2 Update Highlight and Summary, presented by Squire. My name is Caden, and I will be running you through the latest updates to NetSuite. First, a few comments about this presentation. NetSuite's 19.2 update includes over 100 enhancements and new features. Due to the unique needs of each business, we will not be diving deeply into any new feature. Rather, we will briefly touch on some of the most useful and widespread enhancements and features that you might want to be aware of. We've placed timestamps in the description below so you can jump ahead to the sections that you are most interested in. However, we recommend watching the majority of the presentation so you don't miss out on any important updates. Lastly, if you have any questions about anything mentioned in this video, contact your NetSuite experts here at Squire and we'd be happy to help. Now, about the update. These features and others will become available to use when your account is upgraded to 19.2. NetSuite is currently rolling out release previews, which is a great way to see some of these updates before they are implemented fully. I'll hop over to NetSuite to show how to access the preview. But first, as a note, it is important to remember that day one of the update tends to be buggy. Many problems you encounter are likely due to these bugs. However, if NetSuite is giving you specific error messages, please contact one of our NetSuite experts for help. Now, let's get on to the update. So here in NetSuite, I'm going to show you how you can access your update release preview if you have not already done so. So here in our account, we're going to go to Setup, Company, and then scroll down to Release Preview. Here you can request a release preview. Because I have already requested my release preview, this is grayed out. So from now on in the presentation, I will be within the release preview instance of NetSuite. Let's get things started off with some changes to administrative features in NetSuite. First, we have the new User Access Reset tool. This is designed to replace the Reset 2FA Settings tool. With this tool, administrators are enabled to start a password reset, clear security questions, unlock access to NetSuite after 6 login attempts have been used up, and reset a user's 2FA settings. To access the tool, go to Setup, User/Roles, User Management, User Access Reset tool. Another new feature is multi-subsidiary entity support for intercompany processes. With this feature, you can select any subsidiary assigned to a customer or vendor record when you create intercompany transactions. This is designed to reduce the number of entities in your system through entity record merges. A few other minor enhancements to administrative features in NetSuite include the Subsidiary Settings Manager, which allows you to manage some settings for each subsidiary from a single page, the Sent Email feature, which allows administrators or those with the permission to see all emails, whether or not they resulted in errors, and the Personal Information Removal tool. This is largely designed for companies that operate in countries that are cracking down on personal information laws. This tool allows you to remove an individual's personal info from system notes, workflow history, and field values. Let's move on to some accounting changes in NetSuite. As part of the 2019.1 update, NetSuite defaulted to hiding transaction numbers and global search, resulting in some transactions not being visible. That feature is still in effect. However, the setting is no longer changed in the Show Transaction Number setup preference. Rather, it is set on the role level and can also be set on the user level. To change the preference on the role level, we go to Setup, User/Roles, and click on Manage Roles. You then can customize the role, go to the Preferences subtab, and here you can change the Global Search Includes Transaction Numbers setting. To change the preference on the user level, we'll go to Home, Set Preferences, Analytics, and then under Search, we will check Global Search Includes Transaction Numbers. Another new feature is Transaction Email Enhancement. This allows users to select which transaction email template to use for each type when they send emails with PDF attachments. Users must have email templates and custom transaction form permissions. This does work on custom forms, and access to templates can be controlled via permissions. One cool new feature with NetSuite is the GL impact printing. This allows you to print the GL impact of a transaction from the GL impact form. To use this feature, make sure the advanced PDF/HTML templates feature is enabled. This will allow you to customize the form. The feature also allows you to print the impact for multiple transactions. Let's jump back into NetSuite and I'll show you how to use this feature for single transactions and then for printing multiple transactions at a time. So the first thing we're going to want to do is find a transaction. Let's take an invoice. Let's look at this one. As usual, you can go to Actions, GL Impact, and now a print button appears. This will produce a PDF form that will show the GL impact of that transaction. To print off the GL impact of multiple transactions, you can go to Transactions, Management, Print Checks and Forms. Then at the bottom we have GL impact. This allows you to view different transaction types within a certain period of time and to choose which from that list you want to see. Let's look at all of them. Okay, here we have a PDF, just like before, that shows a transaction on every page. Another new feature is mass merge and duplicate detection. This gives you the ability to detect duplicate customers and vendors across subsidiaries. It allows you to manage duplicates across subsidiaries using the Manage Customer Duplicates page. There are a few results that take place from merging two entities. First, the primary subsidiary becomes the master entity subsidiary. Second, the duplicate entity subsidiary becomes a secondary subsidiary for each entity. And lastly, the contact from the primary subsidiary is linked with the master entity. However, as a warning, be sure to test this in a sandbox account, as merging these records can be irreversible. Also note that it can take some time. And now on to banking features. Probably the biggest update in the 19.2 release is the update to banking in NetSuite. This is a single feature, but there is a lot to it, so I'll step through all the new capabilities, starting with the new import method. With the advanced banking data import, you can create your own custom parsers for all of your different statement formats. This allows you to easily import statements from different financial institutions or statements that just have a unique format. Import online banking file permissions is required to import banking data, and financial institution records permissions with full access permission level is required to create a financial institution record. The updated banking data import now allows for a direct connection to your bank. To do this, use the Connectivity plugin tab on the Statement File Import page. This process requires that an administrator configures the bank connectivity plugin. The Statement File Import page will allow you to create a connectivity plugin, financial institution, or format profile directly from the page. In a moment, I'll show you how to get to this page in NetSuite and what it looks like. But first, let's talk about financial institution records. These records allow you to map accounts and bank transaction codes for multiple accounts in the format profile. After creating a financial institution record, you will be able to create format profile records, associate a parser plugin with a format profile, map bank statement accounts, corresponding NetSuite accounts and map custom bank transaction types to NetSuite transaction types. Now let's go to NetSuite and I'll show you what this looks like. First, we can reach the statement file import page by going to Transactions, Bank, Import Online Banking Data. This will bring you to the manual import page where you can choose the statement you want to import, select a financial institution, and choose what format profile to use for that financial institution. On the Connectivity Plugin tab, you can select a plugin that has already been configured, choose your financial institution, and select the format profile. You can also create these records from either tab. Let's create a new financial institution record. We'll call our new bank Squire Bank. After saving, you'll be able to use this financial institution in workflows and create an associated format profile. When you create a format profile, you'll give the profile a name and select a pre-configured transaction parser. We'll skip this step for this presentation. Then under the Account Mapping tab, you can tie account mapping keys to your accounts in NetSuite. On the Transaction Code Mapping tab, you'll link bank transaction codes to NetSuite transaction types and choose whether the code represents a debit or a credit. Now that we've looked at the statement file import page, financial institution records, and format profile records, let's cover a couple more notes about advanced banking data import. First, importing banking data is no longer a synchronous process and does not fail due to timeout settings. The asynchronous importing means that you no longer have to wait for the bank import to be completed before you can do other things in NetSuite. You can also import multiple bank statements at the same time. The number of bank statements you can simultaneously import will be limited by your NetSuite service tier. Lastly, the Imported Statements list and Import Details page now have improved import status and results functionality. Included on these pages are enhancements including additional import status, improved next steps, error messages, new bank import status features, a refresh button, a statement date field, a format profile field, and hyperlinked accounts. Now a couple of minor enhancements to item record management. For those of you working in the food and beverage industry, you can now use the Allergen Statements Suite Bundle, which will allow you to include allergen info on the item record. Some of you may be interested in the Effective Date Pricing Suite app, which will allow you to schedule specific price changes in advance. Vendors purchasing and receiving. NetSuite now allows for vendor prepayments, allowing you to track deposit amounts paid to vendors before they accept a purchase order. You will then be able to apply the prepayment amount against open bills from the vendor. NetSuite 19.2 has added several built-in workbooks to the SuiteAnalytics workbook functionality. Two of these pre-built workbooks are the Purchases Build workbook, which shows the status of bills received during the last month, and the Purchases Ordered workbook, which shows an overview of purchase orders from last month. I'll go into NetSuite and show you where you can find these workbooks. First, go to the Analytics tab. If the tab isn't showing, enable it from the Enable Features page under the company setup. Under the Standard Workbooks list, you will see many new workbooks that you can use to find quick answers to many of your business questions. These standard workbooks can also be altered to show you different information that you may want to include on a dashboard or a report. We'll come back to this page later. Let's briefly highlight an enhancement to NetSuite's taxation functionality. The U.S. tax engine in NetSuite has been enhanced to allow and manage sales tax exemptions. It also has improved sales tax code lookup logic and a sales and use tax table. There are two key manufacturing features I'll be talking about from the new release. You can now set a consumption unit of measure for each item. This allows the system to consume components on work orders and assembly builds in units of measure other than base units. The consumption unit can be set on the item record. As mentioned before, NetSuite 19.2 includes many standard workbooks for the NetSuite Analytics Workbooks feature. The Manufacturing Production Workbook provides production quantity and cost analytics. Order Management. As an update to order management in NetSuite, advanced order management features are now free in NetSuite. If you'd like to know more about these features, please contact us. Additionally, you can now include new inventory details on purchase orders when receiving items on an inbound shipment. For those who use inventory management in NetSuite, Release 19.2 has a couple of updates for you. An update to supply allocation allows you to expand inventory commitment to consider future inventory, as well as inventory on hand. To use this feature, enable the supply allocation, advanced inventory management, and multi-location inventory features. If you use the Supply Chain Control Tower, you will see that vendor records include predicted risks sections that will allow you to avoid inventory shortages. You will also have access to a new KPI, alerts, and predicted risks dashboard portlets. SuiteAnalytics includes 3 standard inventory workbooks. The Inbound Workbook shows inbound transactions for receiving. The Counts and Adjustments Workbook shows open inventory counts and closed counts for approval. The Outbound Workbook displays unfulfilled or partially fulfilled or billed sales orders. Release 2019.2 includes a couple user interface enhancements, primarily involving portlets. Analytics portlets can now use pivot tables rather than just charts. Also, instead of 5 portlets previously allowed, you can now use up to 10 portlets. The amount of KPIs you can use as headlines has increased from 4 to 8. Also, as a very minor enhancement, the currency symbol has been added on meter KPIs. In addition to the many new standard workbooks available, SuiteAnalytics has received a couple of updates. First, the Criteria and Data tabs have been combined into the Dataset tab. You also now have access to filter and sort options for pivots and charts. Additionally, the Data Refresh tool has been updated. As a note, custom transaction types are no longer available for use in SuiteAnalytics Workbook. Let's jump back into NetSuite and I'll show you these updates. Back on the Analytics page, we will choose one of these standard workbooks to use. This new Data Set tab is a combination of the prior Data and Criteria tabs. This is where you select your data and the criteria you use to format your workbook. By selecting one of these pivot tables, we can see that there are new options for sorting and filtering. Also, the refresh tool has been moved up to the top left corner. Now we'll go through a few SuiteApps worth mentioning. Suite Approvals is now extended to expense report and sales order records. It also now has custom support for sales order approvals. For those doing business in Japan, Fixed Assets Management has enhanced Japan depreciation. It also has lease accounting reports and support for period 0. The Order Management Suite app now has electronic invoicing that has digital signature plugin implementations. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are too many new features to talk about. Other areas that have been enhanced due to NetSuite Release 19.2 include NetSuite Projects, Employee Management, Order Management, Commerce Platform, Suite Script, Suite Talk, Suite Cloud, Site Builder, and Administration. If you are interested in these updates, please see the full release notes or contact us here at Squire. And that brings us to the end of our release summary. I hope you found this helpful. If you have questions about anything I talked about today or anything I didn't, please feel free to contact us by emailing netsuite@squire.com. If you would like to read the release notes from NetSuite, you can find them in the Release 19.2 window of your account or by clicking the link in the description below. If you're interested in expert NetSuite implementation or support, visit squire.com to learn more. From Squire, we wish you the best, and thanks for watching.